Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's so fun to see this totally set up officially now. Wow. Okay. Mom, how are you? Hello.
Good. How are you?
I am well. All right, everyone. Welcome to Stars Align. I should say Club Stars Align. This is our first edition. We'll get our own official. Thank you, Boogie Nights, for getting into the crew, the gold airplane. I'm still learning the all of the Twitch terminology, but we'll get there for sure. We're here. I have to say, a lot of work has come together to make this show happen, and we're going to get into all about who did that and what's all happening here. But we're just so thankful to have everyone here in the live space. So everyone, thank you for joining us, Club Stars Line. We are artists in the pilot residency program here at the travel agency. A little bit about the travel agency before we jump into our show. The travel agency is a digitally native platform that hosts contemporary art making, produces art-centered entertainment, and provides digital residencies with multimedia exhibition opportunities. Go ahead and support our show by tipping with the link in the description. You can support the travel agency by following, subscribing, or donating bits. This a little bit of housekeeping too. This coming Sunday will be the next edition of Art Brunch, which Tiffany Sutton will be the guest, which is a show where casual conversations about contemporary art with new guests every Sunday. So make sure to tune in then. So now that is out of the way, I will go ahead and just briefly introduce myself. My name is Jake Leach. I am a artist. I am a musician. I am a photographer. I am a DJ, which you will see a little something about that later on. And I am a student of astrology, which is where I think I'll take this moment to introduce my mother, this woman to my left.
All right. Thanks, Jake. Yeah. Jake is also the co-founder of the original IRL Stars Align Dance Party. You can see the sign behind him, I think.
Yes.
And, Jake has been such a good sport. His whole life he's been listening to me talk about astrology. And in 2015, I said to him, we were looking at all these cool themed dance parties, and Jake was a DJ. And I was like, you should throw the party you want to go to. And I'm like, and I was looking, I would love to go to a party that was astrology themed. And so we started it. We did a solid year of dance parties on Cherokee Street, and it was so much fun. And it was really sad. It ended, and people have gone their separate ways over the last 5 years. But we, luckily, thanks to Rick, now have this opportunity. Jake, you want to take it away and talk about how you met Rick and what's going on and how now we're able to bring Stars Align to this new platform?
Yes.
In this new age that we're all living in.
Although I think you should tell the people a little bit more about yourself, Mom.
Okay. Besides being Jake's mom, which is an amazing role that I play. I'm also there's a brother named Ethan. Shout out to Ethan. And again, he too is also tortured by hearing his mother talk about astrology all these years. But I am a librarian by trade. But what was awesome about that is I also have been studying astrology for 20 years. So it kind of went hand in hand. For everything I read in the library, it all led to what, I know now and today. And it was really cool because we were from St. Louis, and I was a big part of the St. Louis Astrological Association. So for about 5 years, I was on the board. And what was neat about that is, again, meeting in real life. This is astrology before the internet. There were people who were in their 90s that would still meet because they wanted to connect with other astrologers, especially young astrologers, because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And then me, I was in the middle. I was like in my 40s. And then there were 20-year-olds who had only learned astrology through the internet. And for them to talk to an actual person was an amazing thing. So once a month, we'd give lectures to each other, and we'd bring in speakers. Well, that has completely changed. You now have astrology in your hand with apps like CoStar and all these other things. Right. So thank you for letting me take this little segue on, where we are today. And here we are at this platform where we can bring astrology and fun. And I mean, that's our goal. I think, Jake, you and I had talked about this with Rick, is that our goal for this is to make astrology fun and accessible because it is daunting. It takes years to really get good at it. It's a language. It takes a long time to get fluent. And again, just the beauty of the internet is that we all have access to this information at our fingertips. Like what used to take hours to calculate a chart, you can now do in seconds. And it's just, it's a renaissance in astrology. So anyway.
Absolutely. So that's just a little brief dip into who we are. I do just want to mention the Rick that we've been mentioning is Rick Bowling, who is the founder of the travel agency, as well as the original host and co-host, along with myself, for Art Brunch, again, the show aforementioned, with the new episode this Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and peek at the chat really quick. We have Wendy Elf says, "Hey, Denise." Who else says, "I'm so excited." We have little Miss Gabby saying, "Little Taurus over here." Big Monstera says, "Hey, Rick," because we've got travel agent Rick in the chat, so shout him out.
Hey, little Miss Gabby. Oh, Cap is rising in Aqua my moon. Aqua moon right here. Okay.
Look at that. There we go.
Yeah.
So just briefly, as you can see, the amount of with all due respect, nerdery that will come from this here. There's a profound respect at the same time for the study of this. And I think what was so exciting about the dance party that we did 5 years ago in person in Cherokee Street was, everyone has a space. I think if I can take this point here to say, like, everyone has a space that they can enter into in astrology. I've definitely received it through osmosis, as my mom said, and something that certainly clicked for me was not just knowing your sign, but then knowing your rising, your moon, and your sun sign, which is your what you're most known for. But then also the elements that are associated with those being water, earth, fire, and air. I feel like I finally, like, that amount of information, I finally understood, and that's like cracked the code for me to like really be able to like, okay, I don't think I can fully go there yet, but I've got this amount to like really kind of have a language to speak and to go a little bit further than people, just originally know, just like, what's your sign? That's it. I've definitely asked my mom, "Hey, what time was I born?" In fact, I didn't have to ask, you just told me. So,
Yeah. But one thing I want to say is about this being the Capricorn edition is that even I'm seeing in the chat, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I'm a Gemini. Oh, I'm a Taurus." Everybody's got Capricorn in their chart somewhere. There's a house of Capricorn somewhere in their chart. So anything that we talk about today, you'll be able to piece that together. And if you come listen for the next year, every month, you'll be able to put those pieces together and really have a fuller idea of who you are. Because you're more than your sun sign for sure. So
100%. So with that mentioned, this is our first episode here now live on Twitch, which, as an entity, we can really take the show to the place we've, I think, always wanted to, because I think the one thing that we didn't get to do that we did in person was that the astrology part was kind of just like literally danced around. We were on the dance floor, we had fun, you could get your photo taken with, some ephemera, something that like, images that of whatever sign that is.
in the
But
photo booth, yeah.
we had it in our photo booth, right? But we didn't really have enough time to like really like get into the nitty gritty of the of astrology itself. So we're looking to really kind of get far more into that while also maintaining the dance floor vibe, which I just want to give people a little heads up for what they're in for. I will be disappearing for about 10 minutes around 8:50, and my mom will be talking to everyone in the chat. She'll be taking any questions you have, so definitely prepare to have those questions ready. I will then do a DJ set for about 30 minutes or so. That should wrap around 9:30. Then we'll get to a section in the show where we're going to talk about the big picture, or the astro weather, if you will. And Mom, why don't you tell people just a little about what that means?
So much has been going on, and again, like I said, astrology has just boomed. So we're going to talk about like what's led up to the events that's going on, especially definitely a nod to what happened yesterday in our country. Not a deep dive, but just enough to give you guys an idea of where it's going and then where we're heading. And then when we get to our next episode, our next party, our next club, Stars Align, we'll be able to really fully embrace, because now this is sort of an intro episode or whatever. When we get there, we'll be able to really just hit it with like what's coming our way, because there's so much Aquarius energy in the next year. And so by then, my goal is to help everybody prepare and to be able to surf this energy, to know what's coming so that they're prepared, for everything. So that's the astro weather part. But then we will
also have we'll do a celebrity chart reading. It'll be someone you guys know very well. You might say he's a star man. Anyway, so look forward to that. Then we will be having a DJ set from DJ Mix Riss of Boogie Nights of Quarantine. Our sweet friend Marissa is an incredible DJ who plummets into the depths of SoundCloud and finds all the best gems so you don't have to. She will be doing a DJ set of all Capricorns, of all kinds. I actually forgot to mention my set will be all Capricorn rappers. And for those who understand what a little reference that might be to Art Brunch, you'll see why. Definitely tune in Sunday to find out. And so she'll be on for about 45 minutes, and then we'll have the last 15 minutes to kind of do a send-off and to do something that we're really excited about, which is our giveaway. So something we're going to do that honestly kind of insane in terms of the financial value of the item that we're going to be doing. Us, Stars Align, Club Stars Align, is giving away a 1-hour chart reading by my mom, Denise Hewlett, which, have you know, is a $100, you heard right, value. And the way that you can enter to this raffle for this item is everyone gets one free entry in the chat by using exclamation point ticket. So in the chat, just put exclamation point ticket. And by doing that, you will be automatically entered into getting my mom chart reading from my mom. If you'd like to buy additional entries, you can do that by following, subscribing, or tipping in any way. Giveaway exclamation point giveaway for more information if you have any questions. So again, we're giving away $100 value, a proper whole ass chart reading from my mom. Mom, do you just want to briefly tell people what's all involved in that?
Sure. Yeah, just for those that maybe have never had a chart reading done before, basically what it is I look at your cosmic blueprint of your life. Everybody's got a unique one. Sometimes people call it the sacred geometry, right? So it's where all your planets are in the houses. And the key, when people are first learning astrology, they kind of call it cookbook astrology. Like you're able to be like, oh, my son's in this. And that's how you learn, right? You learn the grammar. But, after 18 years of diving in and figuring this out, I've finally gotten to that point where I can actually synthesize and be like, this connects to this and this connects to this. I also bring in a little bit of evolutionary astrology where it talks about kind of what your purpose is in life. So what I typically do is like when I get your information, I'll reach out, I'll get your birth time, which is super important. So everybody call your moms and find out what time you're date, location, and then once I get that information, I will send you your chart, and I will also send you your solar return because that's where the energy is this year. So the predictive part that people think of astrology is really like what energy you're experiencing now and maybe going forward, but you definitely want that solid base. So you should spend about the first 30 to 45 minutes on your base, your foundation of your chart. And then we spend time talking about, where you're at in your life. And let me just say, it's a conversation. This is your reading. It's not just me spouting off a bunch of stuff. We're interacting, and it's, to me, it's why I'm an astrologer. To me, I think your most important relationship in the whole world is with yourself. And we're so lucky to have these tools and this language to describe the things that we experience in our lifetime and all the cycles that we go through. So I'm just pumped. I'm so excited to meet whoever wins and actually, connect with you and spend an hour. I spent a couple hours getting ready for it, but we will meet on Zoom is what we'll do. And then we can record it is the other thing. So you can go back and listen and learn. And I listen to them too. I re-listen and be like, did I phrase that correctly? But anyway, I'm very excited to give this away and to meet whoever's out there, our fans of the Club Stars Align.
Yes. So again, people, that's $100 value. The way you do that is by doing exclamation point ticket. And again, you can get any additional entries. That first one is free. Any additional ones, you can do that by following the travel agency, subscribing, or tipping. Everything is appreciated. And again, we'll announce that at the last 15 minutes of the show. And briefly, I just want to say, everyone who's gotten a chart reading from my mom has had let's see who we got here. Wendy Elf, thank you for joining the crew here. I also want to thank Skate Mom too. She gave cheered 10 bits. And every single bit counts. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
Everyone I know, I am biased, but everyone I know who has gotten a chart reading from my mom had tears, Mom. That's what you often. I'll say it so you don't have to. It's an emotional thing, but it's also it's non-judgmental. I think a lot of people think that astrology is judgmental and it tries to tell you who you are. Some people think that astrology is supposed to predict the future, and I I think it's really more of just maybe an interpretation, Mom. Is that the word you would use?
We incarnated at a time when the energy was as such, and you've been given energetic gifts, and you're swimming in that river now for the till you come out on the other end, right? So it's kind of cool to see where you are, and it also just kind of gives you context of like where you are in the world, where you are in society. It's such a fabulous tool to see, like for relationships. Like a lot of times you can see your parental relationships, your sibling relationships, your romantic relationships, your career, your work. You can see all those things, and I think it just really is a great tool for self-acceptance, and really just helps you, go further in your life because you know who you are.
Right. Yeah, and it's just, I'll say as the stubborn son of any mother is just like, whatever, ma'am, whatever you're in, whatever that is. But I think once I kind of, I grew up and I really understood the stuff that my mom was talking about, I think that there's just, I don't know, immense value to consider as just, again, interpretation. And that's what I think is so wonderful about it, that you can read what this says, and that these things kind of maybe will influence feelings that you've felt, or maybe like help you kind of understand what's going on a bit. But I think it's also just another way to connect with people. And I think I've found a lot of connection either through fellow friends or through co-star, literally. And I think that it's extremely popular for a reason. It's an ancient
always
art,
has been,
but it always has been.
And it's exciting to be here now in this renaissance again, where astrology is an Aquarian thing. It has, you know what I mean? And we're not in the age of Aquarius yet. It's technically in 150 years, we're on the way there. And so it's just so cool to see how it's evolving and how far it's going to be. So it was ubiquitous, and it's going to be more so in the future. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, since we're not yet to the age of Aquarius, however, we are in the season of Capricorn. I think we'll go ahead and dive right into our kind of the basics of Capricorn. And we'll go ahead and jump to our space with our images here. And we'll kind of just give you guys a brief understanding of what there is going on about Capricorn in general, the basic things to know about this time, people that are that sign, and things of that nature. So, Mom, I'll kind of hand this off to you a little bit. And I also just want to say I really liked this graphic that we made because emojis are perfect. And you don't have to design a goat or an Earth or a Saturn. Although somehow Saturn is the only planet emoji we have. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that works, but hey, emoji people, give us all the planets. There's only was there 8? Is there 8?
Yeah. Well, there's 7. I mean, if you do the luminaries, the sun and moon are luminaries. I mean, there's plenty of moon emojis. There's tons of those.
There's like 12 of those.
For sure. So
yeah.
you need to just kind of give it up. Yeah. But the cool thing is there's a million astrology glyph emojis. They have all the signs on there, so that's pretty cool. They've
had that since day one.
Which is funny. We didn't put that on there. Also, just FYI, we do have a correction. It is December 21st, so it's the beginning of the solstice. So yeah, we forgot to correct that. So.
Hey, you know what? We already have our first mistake, you guys. So go ahead and just make that a 20.
So just pretend you didn't see that. Yeah,
yes,
it's
that was on. And for the record, for my mom's reputation, I made this, not her. So. That's on me.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll just take it away. So just basically the dates. That's always like the big thing. So the dates are really for your sun sign. So the sun sign is the day you were born, right? So that's how that's why sun sign astrology is so popular, because that's the one thing you can figure out is by the dates. So if you're born between December 21st and January 18th, you're officially a Capricorn, right? The cool thing, what's another interesting thing that throws people off is that the astrology signs don't correspond with the month. They are the last week of, for example, of December and the first 3 weeks of January. So it's not all of January or all of December, So that's where it gets a little tricky and people, get confused about what their sun sign is. And then we'll go on that the rising sign is the time you're born, and then, all that other.
Well, it's far too old for it to have lined up with the Gregorian calendar, is what we're saying.
Well, and that's the thing. The Gregorian calendar came after astrology, exactly.
Wow.
So, so they switched it to line up with the pagan holidays and all those other stuff. So there's a lot of history behind it. The other interesting, and I want to point this out, though, for those of you who are into this, is that, Capricorn is a constellation, but it's also a sign of the zodiac. So I just would like to show you, since I happen to be a Capricorn in our inaugural,
Oh yeah,
episode.
We're bearing the lead. We have a Capricorn co-host. Yes.
I just want to show my Capricorn friend bought this t-shirt for me. So let me show you. This is the constellation of Capricorn.
There we go.
But in astrology, Capricorn rules the piece of the pie, because really it's just they took the sky and divided it in 12 sections. The 10th house, which you can see on there a little further down, is the house of Capricorn, and then we'll talk about all those other things. So just letting you know, that's how that all works, is that it's confusing because there's a lot of constellations with zodiac names or vice versa. There's a lot of zodiac names that actually are constellations. So that's where that confusion comes in. So I just wanted to clear that up. So
let's take a quick second to address our chat. Hello at Caitlin Zara. Thank you for joining us. Boogie Nights Denise is a true all-star. You won't regret the time and money spent with a reading with my mom, Denise. She didn't say my mom. I'm saying that. Travel Agent Rick says, Denise, read my soul. And Wendy Elf says, talk about travel. We are traveling the stars.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I just want to say, shout out to all you guys. It's a privilege for me because every time I connect with another person, I get so much out of it. And I learn a lot about myself too, because a lot of times, we all have overlap. I'll be like, oh, my Venus is in Pisces too. And I can speak from the heart about my experiences. It just makes me feel like it gives me meaning too, you guys. It's not like it's just like, it doesn't, what they say is that, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right? This does not feel like work to me. It is so, yes, it takes my time, but it is so meaningful to me. And so I really enjoy connecting with everybody who gets a reading. So super
Absolutely.
good. Anyway, okay.
So I guess we're got about, let's just jump into the symbol then of the goat.
So, there's so many visuals that could go with this, but the symbol for the Capricorn is the goat, right? So just want to bring this little goat on by. Okay, and this is really what goats do.
This is actually a prop comedy show, just so everyone
knows.
Yes.
It is a cookie cutter goat, but I had to buy it when I was in Santa Fe. I was like, oh my God, I have to have this cookie cutter. Yes. Okay, so the thing I want to say about this is, it's an interesting thing, is that the animal or symbol for Capricorn is actually the sea goat. So this should have a little fish tail on it. And if you actually look at the glyph for Capricorn, it's got that little swishy little tail on the end. So anyway, what it is that, Capricorn is at the 10th house. It's at the very top of your chart. So it's beginning the spiritual houses. And so, yes, they're ambitious. Yes, they're known to climb. Yes, they're hardworking and all those things. When you think of the mountain goat, they will overcome anything. They'll eat a tin can. They'll do whatever they have to do because their goal, their ambition is really to get to the top and to be the best at everything that they do. And it's also a form of spirituality. When you get to the top, right, you have that, let's think about Martin Luther King, who was a Capricorn. What was his famous speech? I've been to the mountaintop, right? That's where the hope is. That's where you see the big picture, which we're talking about. So, but they're deeply spiritual. So, the thing I like to say about Capricorns is sometimes people think they're crusty. I like to say they are like a caramel, a hard candy shell, but they're soft on the inside, which is, they protect that soft side of themselves. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, anywho, that's the symbology of the goat. So, and I also just want to say, the funny thing is that we now have this new acronym, right, for GOAT, GOAT, greatest of all time, right? And we'll get into this later about we'll start listing off all the Capricorns that are the goats of the universe. So we'll get there.
Wow. So then, so the element, I can actually kind of maybe say this a little bit. I'll try. With my mom aiding me, she'll be my training wheels here, of course. The element is earth, so they are an earth sign. From what I understand that to be is that they're very, it's hard to not use the word earth, like they're very down to earth, very salt of the earth, very practical. As we can see in our attributes here, hardworking, ambitious, but responsible. People I've known to be Capricorns, all kinds of folks that have had, they say less, let's get into the hip terminology of the kids these days, say less. And they don't need to, they can kind of do it inside. And the fact that, I'm sorry, Mom, do you want to jump in on that at all?
Go ahead. No, I'm listening. Yeah.
And then the energy of that is cardinal. So cardinal being kind of that leadership energy. So they're very practical, but are willing to kind of take the reins and kind of have that jumpstart energy. And again, cardinal is as opposed to the two other types of energy, which would be known as fixed or mutable. And just for example, like I'm a Pisces, so I'm a mutable water sign. And what's another, I guess a Sagittarius is a fixed fire sign.
Or is a mutable fire sign.
Oh God, even worse.
That's okay. No, you're doing great.
This is good.
Well,
so yeah, go ahead.
putting it together for Capricorn, it is a cardinal earth sign. And you and I talked about this before the show started. The cardinal signs tip off the beginning of each season. So the cardinal fire sign is, Jake, you know, Aries.
Fire sign is Aries.
The cardinal summer sign is Cancer.
Right.
The cardinal fall sign, the one on the equinox, right? Or, you know, is
Virgo.
Libra. The cardinal, the cardinal earth sign, which kicks off winter. Is Capricorn. So that's where it comes from. You're kicking it off, initiating those changes of season. And again, they're typically the cardinal signs, enjoy being the leaders. They like to strive. They like to reach their goals in those various ways through those various modes of the elements. And again, back to Capricorn being at the top of the chart, they're considered of the earth signs are considered the executive. They like to manage things. They like to be in control. They're very disciplined and patient, and like I said, very goal oriented. The other earth signs, and all the signs are goal oriented, but just known for specifically, that being a defining feature. So
for sure. I just want to jump back in the chat here. Big Monstera says, yes, the cookie cutter. We always love
Denise is the goat.
Yes, we appreciate
that.
Love you. Sam8084 in the chat. Denise, you are my favorite goat. Denise is the goat. You guys just keep this rolling. We really appreciate this. Throw a goat emoji in the chat if you're having a good time. Let's do this. Also keep in mind, I'm cool too. Okay. Thank you.
We're gonna give Jake, wait 2 more months. We're gonna be all about you. We'll have baby pictures. We'll just be all about your fishiness. Yes,
just wait for Pisces. It's gonna get all watery and emotional.
Yes.
Okay. So I feel like we've kind of broken down.
I did want to mention the planet rulers, which are a big deal. Yes. Okay. And this is another thing. The planets, at first I didn't understand what's the big deal about planets when I first started astrology. The planets are everything, you guys. So I think that we have the coolest planet, we Capricorns, because we have the most recognizable one. We have Saturn with the rings, right? And Saturn's been in the news, it was conjunct Jupiter, everybody saw it in the sky, even NASA was.
And that was when the two things aligned. Right. What was that again?
Right. It was a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Right.
So that was planets aligning. So it doesn't fully work with our.
Right. So stars. Our star is the sun. But we refer to the planets as basically just.
We get it. Yeah, it happens.
Yes, right. Exactly. But what I want to say about this is Saturn is again, when you go through the chart, like Aries starts off, you're like your child. It represents the childhood. It goes all those through. By the time you get to the 10th house at the top, it's basically like retirement age. So the age of retirement is like 63 to 70. And a lot of the Saturn themes are like wisdom, discipline, patience. So think of your grandparents, how cool they are by the time they get old, because they've been through it all. I like to say they've been through the rock time tumbler of life, and all the edges have been knocked off, and they get it now. They just get it. That goes back to that wisdom thing. But so Saturn, Saturn can be in all the signs. So that's what I'm going to say. So it brings that energy to each of the signs of the house. So we're going to get into that in the next part. But also wanted to just mention is that, especially for a lot of our listeners who are in their 20s, a lot of millennials, they're just about, you guys have heard this, about their Saturn return. Yeah, so Saturn takes between 27 and 30 years to come back to the same place it was when you were born. And what that means is you're hitting that first level of maturity. A lot of people get married. A lot of people, their careers are starting to gel. There's a lot of things of maturing when you get to that, and it's hard, okay? It takes discipline. Maybe you've worked your butt off this whole time, but you're really still you're just about to reap the benefits. You're just getting there. And there's a lot of things, and you'll notice there's a lot of like rocks that peak early that just can't make it. They can't get past. So you'll see a lot of people blip off the planet at 27. There's Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix and, Jim Morrison, all these people. Those are like 60s people, but still you'll see people that just can't have their Saturn return.
Mac Miller, Capricorn.
Yes, Jake, you and I talked about that. Mac Miller, that was really sad. We were in Los Angeles when that happened, and it was, that was hard. So anyway, just to let you know, that's something that pertains to everybody. Everybody has a Saturn return, and it comes back around when you're 56. So you're not off the hook. Saturn keeps cycles in our life. And also, it's not just a one-time thing. When you're 14, you're having your Saturn opposition. So that's why you have such a hard time when you're struggling. You're just about to be independent. You're a teenager, but you're not totally independent. You just hate that, and all those things. When you're 21's tough because, that's a square to Saturn. So I'm getting deep dive into this, but I just want to let you guys know that it's not just a one-time blip. These are patterns and cycles, and you'll see it. So anyway.
And just for my own sake, for the folks, so that's just known as your Saturn return. that is like in the kind of the return ages between like 27 and 30. So I personally am actually in this space that we're talking about. Mom, you tell me all the time about how I'm in my Saturn return. I just had my 28th birthday, which was my golden birthday last year because I was born on February 28th. It was also a leap year. And I got to say, 2020, I really thought was going to be my year. And we all experienced the plague together. And but I think in a moment of crisis like this is also a moment of opportunity. So I really hope out there everyone has made the most of the last year and done what they can and taken the time they need, and that's certainly what I've hoped to do. But I also appreciate seeing that I guess return ages are between 27 and 30, so there's some time. It doesn't have to be this magic year, Jake. It can be 29 when I turn that. Oh God, I just said that out loud. The end of February coming up in a month plus. So, well, now that we have the attributes of our Capricorns in the world, we'd be remiss as a nighttime show, and let alone a club space and here at Club Starsline, if we didn't have some alcohol. If we didn't have some alcohol to
and this is a nod to
help describe our Capricorns. Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, this is a nod to the art brunch because they always have their. Okay, what's it called, Jake?
It's the Canned Crucible.
Canned Crucible.
And what we do over there just briefly is we have a new drink. We rate it on a scale from 0 to 1,000, and we rate it on 3 different metrics with our guests. And rather than have a rating, I think we felt it would be just right to have a drink that makes sense, that it matches the characteristics, the energy of whatever it may be. So for Capricorn, Mom, you decided with
champagne. Okay, this was Rick. This we have to shout out to Rick because we were getting really granular, like we're gonna have a cocktail and all this other stuff. No. We're just gonna go with kind of generic things. And so really champagne, let's just back up for a minute. Champagne was discovered by Dom Perignon. Did I say that correctly? Did I put it up on it? Okay. And Dom Perignon was a monk in the 1500s. And guess when his birthday was? It says December 1548. Okay, so I'm going to just say, from the fact that he picked this like amazing thing, and he, it takes time to do, to be in a vineyard and they whatever ferment and all this other stuff. I'm going to just go with it and use some poetic license and say that he was a Capricorn. But the reason I really think it was is when he discovered champagne, the first thing he's quoted as saying, "Come quickly, I'm tasting the stars." And so for our first toast is going to be to our favorite Capricorn monk who discovered champagne, who is now, I mean, think about it, Dom Perignon's like the most expensive, right? Like, what's the story on Dom, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody does it.
I'm too poor to afford it, so I wouldn't know. But yeah.
Well, everybody does it to celebrate achievement. And I just want you to know, I got it on ice here in my my little mini champagne on ice, because we're high class. We go, it's like it. We like to be high class.
Absolutely.
The other funny thing is, and just think about how this all ties together. The new year, right? We celebrate the end of one year, like the achievements on December 31st, January 1st, right? Even though it is at the beginning of the astrological year, right? So people use champagne to celebrate achievement, and that's what Capricorns are all about. Also, just want to kind of riff for a second that back to Saturn. The big pagan holiday on the solstice was called Saturnalia, and it's when they partied all night because the days had been getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So the longest night of the year is during Capricorn season. And the next day you wake up and the days get, lighter and lighter by 1 minute every day, right? Wow. So again, back to the party drink. Again, cheers to Capricorn.
Yes. Cheers.
The longest night of the year, the fact that Capricorns are capricious. That word is in, the word Capricorn. The thing about Capricorns working so hard is that they're also known to play hard. So watch it when a Capricorn thinks they deserve it and they're ready to earn, they've earned their playtime, right? So they're going to kick it as hard as they work. So that's a big thing. Also, the other cool thing about like New Year's Eve and Saturn and all these, the mythology and all the stuff that goes around is that Saturn represents Father Time. And what do we do on December 31st?
Make resolutions.
Right, but what else do? We count down.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's like a big part of the celebration is the countdown. The last minutes of the year. And then we say goodbye and start over. And resolutions, right? Goal setting. That's what we do during Capricorn season is set goals.
We make that time for
so all of this stuff ties together. So it's just so fun when you start to really think that's how astrology is part of our lives and we don't even know it.
Absolutely.
This is the stuff behind, all these things. So I think that covers all my motifs. Kicking it, Saturnalia, Father Time, New York,
Hitting them up. Let's go. We're hitting the marks.
Okay. All right. So Jake, yes. We got it? Okay.
Well, one little fun thing. This is a segment we're going to briefly do because we're coming up on 5 minutes till our 10-minute break. So just want to say, if you guys have any questions that you're going to have for my mom, she'll take over the chat and she'll answer your questions. So go ahead and drop some questions in the chat if you're we'll have those 10-minute space there. We're going to go ahead and do a segment we like to call the toast and roast. And what we're going to say is, do we want to toast to or are we going to roast Capricorn in general? Right. And I think this is a pretty obvious one. We're going to start us off. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and toast Capricorn. Me personally, I have a lot of sweet Capricorns in my life. My brother, my mother. I have lots of friends with Capricorn rising. Other names of people who I will say but not dox on on our show, but lots of sweet friends and loved ones, and I really am surrounded by them. So if I didn't like them, it really wouldn't make any sense. So I'm going to go ahead and say toast. Oh, and then I'm Cap rising, so I can't.
No, you're Cap moon, Jake. Your moon is in Capricorn.
I'm 0 for 3. Okay, Cap moon.
You're learning.
I'm toasting to myself.
To you, Jake, and to your Capricorn moon, and to me and your brother.
Yes.
Cheers.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Cheers, y'all.
Okay, so I am going to Capricorn. Of course, I'm going to only toast them. I'm not going to roast them. I am going to toast my Capricorn grandparents, who I celebrated every birthday with because they're my same sign, right? Mm-hmm. So to my Capricorn Bernice, her favorite quote was, everything in moderation, including moderation. So she was awesome. Yeah, so to her, cheers to her. Literally. And she was married to my Capricorn grandpa, which for you relationship astrologers out there is when you're married to your same sign. It's called a 1-1 vibration. So you really get to see yourself. You have high highs and low lows. It exacerbates the good stuff, but it also exacerbates the bad stuff. So they like to bicker and lock horns, but they were so much fun as grandparents. And so my quote from Grandpa Angelo, here's to you, was, Denise, it's just as easy to marry a rich man as it is a poor man.
I mean,
because of course, yes, exactly. Because of course, insecurity, ambition, those kinds of things.
Actually, here, Mom, really quick, can you say that quote one more time?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Okay.
It's just as easy to marry a rich man as it is a poor man.
I don't know if anyone can get that.
Thanks, Jake. That was awesome.
No problem.
Okay.
We're keeping
and then I have one last quote because I have these ready.
Okay.
Is to our good friend Dolly Parton, right?
Queen.
January 19th. She's an amazing Capricorn. The good thing is, one thing about, Capricorns being serious when they're young is they're old when they're young, and they get younger as they get older. So they look like they don't age. So, look at Dolly. She looks amazing,
She does.
And she's always had she's a businesswoman, right? Mm-hmm. But she's also philanthropic. She's only a millionaire now because she gave away so much of her money. It's amazing. And my uncle, shout out to Uncle Dan, who is also Capricorn, thank you, went to see Dolly Parton in the 70s at a concert. And she came up to him and pinched his cheek and said he had a cute little mustache, which I think is adorable. So I had to tell this story.
Yes.
But my favorite quote from Dolly is, because she's big into wigs.
Are you going to say it? Okay, I wasn't sure who was going to say it.
Okay, ready for it? You're going to get ready to... It takes a lot of money to look this cheap. So there you go. So again, the Capricorn sense of humor. There you go.
That's nice. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we're up on 1 minute here. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead.
And Jake, you know what? We'll save that for the next time. That's okay.
Okay. There's a segment you guys don't even get to see. Haha.
Yeah, we had so much fun talking this time.
I know.
Yeah.
We've got lots of stuff coming. We're learning this as we go, you guys, because this is our first time. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, if you guys have any questions for my mom, I'm sure my mom will just kind of jump in and tell us anything more we need to know over the next 10 minutes, where I jump out just for a moment to get prepared for my DJ set. Again, just want to say, if you guys are interested in the 1 hour chart reading, a value of $100, everyone gets one free entry by using the exclamation point ticket. And if you put that in the chat, that will automatically enter you. You can buy additional entries by following, subbing, tipping, and subscribing. You are watching Club Stars Align on the travel agency.
Jake, you want to talk about the rapper session? And then also that I will be following the chat while you're doing your set. So I'll try to be chiming in. Yeah.
So my mom will be physically in the chat. If you guys want to talk at all during my hip-hop set, which for the record will be an all Capricorn hip-hop set. So definitely make sure to watch that. I have some stuff that I'm very excited to play for you all. And I think with that, we're going to go ahead and jump to just my mom on the screen for a little while. And I'll see you in a moment.
I'm scrolling through the chat. Shout out to little Miss Gabby. Toast, my best friend is a Capricorn. I have so many Cap friends. Every Cap I know is hilarious and so hardworking. Oh, thank you. So fun. Okay, little Miss Gabby. Your question is, Denise, what do you think of Sag/Cap and Cap Aqua Cusp? Well, I am so glad you brought it up. It was the best question because I am a Capricorn Aquarian Cusp. My birthday is January 18th. So it's weird because I've never felt very Capricornian because my moon and my Mercury is in Aquarius. I'm right on that edge. And that's funny, like Dolly Parton, Janis Joplin, a bunch of us are born on that cusp. So yeah, technically my sun, my ego, like the things I'm trying to achieve are definitely Capricornian. But, again, you have all those other planets in your chart. So that's my most Capricorn placement. The interesting thing about the Sagittarius Capricorn cusp is like Brad Pitt is a Sagittarius Capricorn cusp and his chart is full of Capricorn. So even though he's officially a Sagittarius, he's very Capricornian. He's a very prolific actor. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. That's why I love the cusp. And I also just want to say, cusps always find each other because energy, like attracts like. Just as we always like gravitate to the same energy and signs, like people in our family, things that we're familiar with, we cusps always find each other. We get it because we're not that. I mean, we are our sun sign, but we get what it's like to be so on that edge where we, are kind of have a lot of planets in each of the other zodiac signs. So, yeah. So I hope that answered your question. I love being a cusp. Let's see. Thanks, little Miss Gabby, for the question. I think that was really an actual Boo's history lesson. Taste the stars. Thank you, Caitlin. Yep. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Sam. Yeah, I can't wait for Aries either. That's cool. Okay. Oh my goodness. Thanks, Boogie Nights. Denise could be my mom any day. You're the best. Oh my God, you guys, wait till you see what Boogie Nights has in store for you. Oh my gosh, they've been working so hard. They've got so many. They're going to do a great job because, we talked about like showing famous celebrities, but you're going to get just to hear these famous Capricorns and their music, and it just literally feel the Capricorn vibe. So I'm very excited to see what Marissa and the Boogie Nights do for their set. So. Oh, okay, here I go. Scrolling. Okie dokie. I am 1224. Is that a cusp? So you are officially a Capricorn. The cusp is right there on the 21st. The 21st is officially the first day of Capricorn. So wow. And I just tell you something. December 24th is one of the rarest birthdays. I saw a top 10 list of the rarest birthdays, and those, for whatever reason, that is a very rare Capricorn birthday. So, okay. Thank you to Goof314. Anything to note about Capricorn, Libra, romantic pairings? The cool thing about that is you guys are both cardinal signs, which is cool because your mode of acting in the world is you guys are trying to get stuff done. So it's so nice to be with someone who's in your same mode, that likes to, sometimes it's good to, have like maybe some balance, but boy, it's nice if you're a go-getter to be with another go-getter. You still have to take turns being in charge. Because again, like Capricorn likes to be the boss. I've been called bossy on more than one occasion. But that's my job in this lifetime. I'm supposed to learn how to be the boss. So definitely, oh cool, there's another person on 1224. That's amazing. Hi, FC Jones. The one thing I also want to say about relationship charts, I cannot wait to dive into that. I'm actually going to touch on this with our celebrity chart. And so my goal is that over the next couple, over the next episodes of Stars Align, that we talk, well, I'm always going to talk about relationship astrology because that's the part that people are interested in the most. How do we connect with another person, whether it's romantic or work or those other, any other friendship relationships? It's nice to know how we connect and where we're different, and that way we can accept each other. So also, I know so many Capricorn men and Taurus women as couples. Can you talk about them as a pairing too? Oh my gosh, it's really compatible because, like, for example, Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, they were, the thing about the Taurus is very sensual and fixed. Capricorns, even though they're cardinal and like to get things done, like security. So they really appreciate the fixed sign energy because they can count on them. And then, of course, being earth signs, they both, I'm not going to say they're materialistic, but they're concerned with the physical things in the world. So their physical relationship is usually really on point. So that's another thing that keeps them together, which is really, really cool. So, it's nice when you're in your element for any sign, air signs with other air signs. And not saying that you have to be, but you get each other on an elemental level. So, President Lincoln, hello, I recognize you from Art Brunch. And Big Monster says, Lincoln, what's your sign? Let's see. Yeah. I guess we're waiting to see that. So, all right. Let me scroll through, see if there's anything else. Yeah, just thanks to everybody for, being with us on our first ever, we're going to work out the kinks, but, again, shout out to Rick, the founder of the travel agency, who's put so much work in behind the scenes to get us set up. You guys don't know how many meetings we've had and how many hours, and we're going to learn so much from this first, episode, and we're going to talk about it and hopefully come back and, we're going to figure out the timing and what segments. That would be a great thing is if you guys want to say, put in there what you would like to see in our future episodes, that would be great. We had a plan to go through Capricorn and all the planets, but that might be too much. That's something we might just put in a post later. Yeah. So.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I think
look at this. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Mom. Go ahead. Sorry, keep
going.
Are
you about ready?
Almost. Go ahead.
Okay. Just want to say, what are some differences between how Capricorn risings versus suns versus moons? Okay, this is what we were going to say in that segment. So you know what? If you guys want to hang on, we have a bunch of stuff prepared for that. So when we come back from Jake, we'll touch on that first, and we'll talk about what it really is to be a Capricorn rising, what it means to be a Cap sun, and what it means to be, a Cap moon, the big three. So we'll definitely squeeze that in. We have visuals for that. So we'll squeeze that in, then we'll talk about the astrological weather, and then we'll do the chart. We'll definitely hit that. Thank you for mentioning that. So, all right, that was so fun, Jay. Cheers to you. Oh my goodness. So while Jake gets ready, we're going to start with the astro weather. But I did definitely want to shout out to Goof314 that we are, when Jake gets back on, we're going to go through each of the planets in Capricorn just briefly, like one sentence at a time, just so that everybody gets a feel for where their Capricorn energy is. But I did definitely want to talk about, today is a really, we are feeling the effects of what was a really big day in our history as a country yesterday. So I want to step back and we're going to do the big picture, the big astrological picture, because that's another gift that astrology gives us, is the gift of the, understanding mundane astrology, which is the world, what's going on. So I want to start back in 2019, in August and September 2019, I went to Burning Man. So the reason I mention this is that everybody has to give a gift. And the gift that I gave was astrology readings. And not just astrology readings, it was Pluto power readings. And the reason I talked about that is the theme for Burning Man in 2019. So remember, fall of 2019, right? We're leading up to 2020. The theme of Burning Man was transformation. I'm like, how did they know that? Oh my God, that's what the whole next year is going to be. So without internet, we figured out how to figure out people's rising signs. And I could say what area of their life that Pluto in Capricorn fell. And when you can find Pluto in Capricorn, what was happening is that Pluto, which is an outer planet, which represents transformation, Saturn, which we all know about Saturn, we just had a Saturn lesson, right, about Capricorn. Saturn's structure was in Capricorn, and Jupiter. So Jupiter's expansion and our belief systems and all that was in Capricorn. So those three biggies were going to be in Capricorn, and that serious energy all of 2020. And holy cow, did we all feel that? You know, Saturn is really like restriction for your own benefit. It's you like staying home and doing your homework. It's you doing all those things. And what did we do this whole entire year? Is we sat home and we faced ourselves, and we took a good hard look at every structure. And that's what I said at Burning Man to people. I said, we can talk about where this falls in your chart, but the biggest structure we participate in is our government. And holy cow, are we all participating now? So that's what was going on. Okay, so the cool thing is on December 21st of 2020, finally we got some relief, right? Jupiter and Saturn aligned, you guys saw it in the sky, and they moved from Capricorn, that hardcore energy, that super serious energy, into Aquarius, okay? And we're going to talk about this so much in our next episode or whatever. But Aquarius is still ruled by Saturn, so it's still got that serious energy. But what Aquarius has is that it is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So let me tell you this. All the planets do this, rotate this way, except Uranus. Uranus goes this way. And people think, oh, it's crazy energy, right? It's counterculture. But we need that. Like when you're stuck in a rut, like our government has been doing things the same way, and it's, all these things that don't really help the people. Like all that stuff, we took a good hard look at that. And a lot of things were shaken because Uranus, that planet that goes counterculture, was in Taurus, which is our emotional and financial security. So that was another thing, another outer planet, which is big, was, shaking all these foundations of our security, of the things that institutions and things that we've relied on. So this is what I'm saying to you, all the millennials, all of everyone who has a Saturn return right now, you are primed and ready to take this innovative Uranian energy and make the world your own. So that's literally what happened December 21st. Okay, so that's what's going on. Let's set the stage, right? The other thing about Uranus energy, it's the rebel, right? It's unconventional. It has its own thoughts. It thinks its own way. It's not, tied in. It's its own thinker. It thinks its own way. So what was interesting, that's all happening, right? So what was going on yesterday was that while all these things are at play, Mars, which we know Mars is the action planet, right? Mars was at the 29th degree of Aries. So let's talk about this. Mars is the warrior. Mars is aggression. It's assertion. And it's so happy in Aries because it rules Aries, right? So the warrior planet was in the warrior sign, right? And it's been in that for 6 months. So the whole time we had all this lockdown energy, we also had this warrior energy. People were fighting against it, right? Okay, so then the breakthrough comes December 21st, right? So now we're like, right? We're like tired of this. We need new energy, right? So that's what's coming. Well, yesterday, on January 6th, Mars was at the 29th degree of Aries, which they call the anaretic. And it's the most urgent point in that sign. It's the last chance for Aries to act like an Aries before it goes into Taurus, which is an earth sign, which is ruled by Venus, which is calm, which is what happened today. So literally, it was the last chance. It was the last, that urgent energy of just people that were going to be, violent or whatever. It was the most violent point yesterday. Okay, so good news coming along that now Mars is going to be in Taurus for the next couple weeks, right? Or longer. But I do want to say on January 20th, which is the inauguration, astrologers everywhere are like, watch the energy for that. And you guys can Google this. You can watch a million YouTube videos or whatever. I'm not a mundane astrologer. I'm really a relationship astrologer, but I do follow this stuff. Just be prepared because even though Mars is going to be in Taurus and people probably won't take action, the emotional energy, the moon, which is your emotions, is going to be at 29 degrees of Aries. So that it's going to be very reminiscent of the feelings we felt yesterday are going to feel that way. So again, of course, it's a very big focal point in our, in the election process, the inauguration, right? So just be prepared for that, you guys. There's a lot of crazy energy in the middle of the month. And we're going to talk about this in future episodes and, on other platforms, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that, a little bit of what was going on. So I can't address too many details of what happened that day, but I definitely wanted to talk about Mars because that was the most obvious. So,
gotcha.
Okay, so Jake is back.
Hello.
We're going to go. Do you have any questions?
I'm here. I threw Mars up on the screen for us.
Yes.
Just a good reference point,
Yeah, it's quick. Mars comes around every 2 years, so it's always it's a quick moving, energetic planet. And Mars is amazing. And when and like I said, Mars in Aries is great when you need to do battle. And that's where it was. So.
Okay.
Anywho, but yeah.
Well, just briefly want to jump back in the chat here to see. I've been kind of scrolling through what you guys said while I was playing. Thank you so much for listening to my all cap, no cap rap set. I hope I didn't stink up the place. I hope we are all good. I just want to do one more reminder for everyone that, again, my mom is giving away. You hear the level of detail she's giving away on the show, for goodness sake. If for a 1 hour chart reading with my mom, which is a 100 USD prime value, $100 value, you can enter that by being in the chat, putting exclamation point ticket. You'll automatically enter. Once you do that, you can buy additional entries by following, subbing, tipping, subscribing, etc. We love to see it in the chat. So, Mom, we're back. Hello.
Okay. Shout out to little Miss Gabby, though. Thanks for the love. Yes. So appreciate you guys. You too, Wendy Elf. All you guys. It's been so much fun. This is what we were so excited to do this. We knew everybody loves astrology. We knew this was going to be so much fun, and it's fun for us. I hope you guys, enjoy it. We're having a great time too. So
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, so as we mentioned before, in this segment, we got something going on here. Good old sound.
Deep dive, and we'll do it quick just so we can get to the chart.
Thanks for being in the vibe here. Yes. So basically, in this segment, we're gonna do. We have the big picture, which is the astro weather, which we just accomplished. So, but something we're gonna jump into as well is the deep dive. If you didn't think we were deep enough, bro, we're going deeper. So what we're gonna do is gonna throw up on the screen here the image of the horizon, aka the sun.
There we go. Thank you.
So, Mom, tell us a little bit about how we're going to break this down.
So, this segment we're calling the Capricorn Planet Deep Dive. So, this is what you guys were asking about. Shout out to Goof314 is that, everybody knows what Capricorn Sun is because that's easy. But, you could be Cap Rising. You could have a Cap Moon. So, that's what we're going to just do a one or we're going to do a 1 or 2 sentence thing with a visual of the planet. Because, again, if you can figure out the energy of the planets, you can figure out, you've cracked the code of astrology. You'll understand. So what's interesting is we start off with the rising sign, which isn't a planet. It's just the sign of the zodiac that was on the horizon when you're born. So that is directly connected to the time you're born. So people find out, get your birth certificate, get the exact birth time. Because I can't tell you, how many times you'll start to do a reading for someone and they'll be like, ooh, this doesn't sound like me. And I'm like, are you sure you have the right birth time? So that's the thing. That's what sets all the other houses in motion. It puts all the planets in the right spot, so that, So anyway, so that's what's going on. So Capricorn rising, which is interesting. Your rising sign is your persona and actually how you look. So the cool thing is when we talk about structure, right? Capricorn structure. Some of the most beautiful people are Capricorn rising because they have really good structure. They have symmetry. So let's do a little shout out to Megan Fox, who is a Taurus.
Oh.
But she's Capricorn rising.
Okay.
Shout out to Sean Connery. If you guys know, that's a throwback. But Sean Connery's a good-looking guy. He's the original James Bond. He's a Virgo, but he's Capricorn rising. The other person is, and you guys probably don't know him, but I put him on my Stars Align Facebook page. I love this guy. His name is Benito Skinner, and he does these hilarious videos about dating a Capricorn, dating every sign. And he is a Scorpio, but he is Capricorn rising, and he can play off so many looks because he's got really good bone structure. He's got really good jokes. So anyway, shout out to beautiful Capricorn risings out there in the world. You're so lucky the genetics have been bestowed upon you that Capricorn was rising when you were born. So anyway,
you could be hot because of a certain sign.
Yes. And one last thing I do want to say though is that besides all these things, for those of you who are into the chakras, that Saturn, which is what rules Capricorn, rules the first relates to the root chakra, which is at the base of your spine, which is your structure, right? Your whole body rests on your skeleton, right? So Capricorn not only represents your spine, it has to do with your skin, your teeth, and your bone structure. So that's where this all plays in together. So there's medical astrology, and that all plays into that kind of stuff too.
There's medical astrology?
Yeah, we'll talk about it another.
Oh my God. That'll have to be on the YouTube channel or something.
Sorry, Gabby, I don't know Megan Fox's moon off the top of my head, but you love Benito. I love that guy. Oh my God, I love him so much. It makes me laugh. I would love to talk to him someday.
Yes, my mom has shown me many a Benito videos, and like a jerk child or an angsty teen, I initially am like, Mom, I don't want to watch your silly videos. Me. She's like, no, you don't understand. So I watch Benito videos, and they are very, very, very funny.
They roast Jake every time with the Pisces video, so that's why he doesn't like it. Well, it's all good. It's all good. We can all see ourselves.
Sorry, Pisces are perfect. Whatever. Okay. Well, so does that feel like that wraps up the rising, Mom?
Yes, totally wraps up the rising. So
let's move on to the sun.
Okay, so the Capricorn sun, what we're talking about is, and when I use the word ego, I don't mean like you're an egomaniac. I mean like your solar plexus, like the core of you. So you're trying to work out in this lifetime your Capricorn sun energy, right? So going back to the greatest of all time. So here's just a quick list of people who are at the top of their game in their lifetime. You got Muhammad Ali, who said he was the greatest, right? You know, LeBron James. A lot of times they have the word king in their name, right? King James, right? And that dude, he'll carry the whole team on his shoulders, right? He's the hardest worker. And the thing about Capricorn with this hard work thing is they like it. So it's not like it's that hard. I mean, it's hard work, but they are motivated by it. They like to work hard. He will carry the team, you know? But he's also very spiritual. Think about how much he's doing now for Black Lives Matter and all the things that he does. He's very connected, you know, so he's awesome.
He cares. He seems to really, I feel like, you know, it's not expected on people of that size, you know, to carry so much, and yet he seems to just go so above and beyond for everything he believes.
Getting the NBA to set up voting inside the stadiums, I mean, that is just, I love him. Elvis Presley, you know, he was, you know, the king of rock and roll, right? And what I want to mention about him really quick, and actually I'll say this for when we get to our celebrity surprise person, is I will say though that his Saturn is an Aquarius. So he, you know, there was rock and roll and then there was Elvis. He completely revolutionized rock and roll. You know, he took what was a format and he made it his own, and it changed it forever. And so that's the energy of the Saturn Aquarius energy that we're all living right now. So I just want to mention that. Also, Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, again, we talked about him. You know, he went to the mountaintop. He was amazing. He was also married to a Taurus. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, Jeff Bezos, January 12th, will be. But let's talk about this. He's the top of his game.
We are on Twitch. We have to mention.
And he is our Amazon sponsor, right?
Overlord.
Yes, he sponsors it. He will be the first trillionaire by 2026. He will be the age of 62, which is the sign of Capricorn, rule 63 and up. So you know what I'm saying? It's literally right on time. He will be the richest man ever.
Well, we need to show the full spectrum from heroes to zeros, like Jeff Bezos. So just, letting everyone know it's information. That's what it is.
It's
no endorsements here on that case.
Okay.
Please don't knock us off of Twitch, please.
Yes. Okay, one last fun fact about this is often, the thing is, a not so fun fact, which we will do for every sign, is oftentimes when you're at the top, it's lonely at the top and you slip, okay? You know, they slip, that oftentimes there's redemption. For example, Tiger Woods. He's at a Capricorn. He was at the top of his game, but because he worked so hard, he was too off balance. And then he went and had all those affairs, and it was just, you know, it smeared his reputation, right? But, you know, he's still at the top of his game, and hopefully he'll redeem himself in the long run. Muhammad Ali, who was amazing. He never did anything wrong. The only thing he did wrong was to, you know, not agree with the Vietnam War, right? And he refused to go over and kill the Viet Cong, you know, right? So they took away his medals. So did he really fall from grace? No, he stood up for his principles, you know, and freaking went to jail. You guys, how do you do that? How do you know, yeah. So anyway, I just want to say, yeah. Okay.
Well.
So that's the Cap sun.
The whole sun. And there's a lot of feeling like a fiery energy almost there. But next up, we're going to move to Capricorn moons.
Okay, and Jake, let's talk about you. This is Jake of the Capricorn moon, whose roommate has a Capricorn moon.
The Cap moon.
Right.
Tell me about me.
Okay, so the moon is your emotional energy. Now imagine that in an earth sign. Okay, the moon loves to be in a water sign because it flows perfectly. The moon in an air sign intellectualizes their feelings. The moon in a fire sign, whatever, is passionate about their feelings, right? They put it out there. They let you know. There's no not knowing. But moon in an earth sign, it sort of solidifies those feelings. So, for example, it makes you affectionate, right? You're going to physically show your love. It also makes you a bit sentimental because you hang on to those feelings. Is Jake has a Capricorn moon grandpa who's extremely sentimental, connects you to your relatives and your ancestors. You're looking back. That sentimental, sort of traditional. It's somewhat traditional because it appreciates structure. It's also very responsible. They're not going to go off on you. My dad has never yelled at me. He'll show his disappointment in me, or he'll do whatever. But they're not going to unleash it like sorry, moon and fire signs. They're going to let you know how you feel. A Capricorn or an earth sign moon is going to kind of keep it under control, especially a Capricorn moon. So Jake, take it away. You're a Capricorn moon. What's it feel like to you?
Well, I am very emotional. I'm emotional, quote, as I say, a little bitch baby. And
that's your Mercury in Pisces, but anyway.
Well, see, anyway. You guys, I'm learning all of my ways, and this is where we're at. I like to think that I can maintain composure. I feel deeply, but I don't know. I like to think that I'm kind of psychic a little bit. I'm gonna shout out to my fellow psychics out there. I feel like I'm never not feeling the entire room. And it's honestly kind of hard. It's like my little emotional spidey sense, and maybe people are laughing, but I'm sorry. You can't knock the truth. It's how I feel, and that's what I've experienced thus far in this life. So, Mom, thank you. You birthed me, so you gave me this ability.
Right, but I also just want to say is I feel like there's somewhat with the moon in Pisces or moon in Capricorn. There's a sense of responsibility for other people's feelings. You want to make sure everybody's taken care of. You want to make sure everybody's okay.
I do care.
But I mean
maybe I care a little too much sometimes.
Right. So there's that. So again, there's no good or bad. You know what I mean in any of this stuff. It's just learning how those energies manifest. So
absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna zip through this so we can get to the David. Go ahead, Jake.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear anything. So just quick in the chat, I want to say again, Goof Love Benito. We saw that. Let you guys know again. Thank you. You're watching Club Stars Align. We are residents in the pilot residency program for the travel agency. That is who you're flying with tonight up here on our channel. So please make sure to subscribe. Get in the chat. So we've got 3 planets left here for this deep dive of Capricorn. Next up, we have Mercury.
So Mercury is the way you communicate, but it's also the way you process it's your thought processes. It's the way you think. So again, if you use that phrase of being structured, Mercury's and Capricorn are very logical, right? They're also patient. So a lot of times they will listen more than they talk. So they take it in. And I like to jokingly say it's like that judge energy. They're going to be like, mm-hmm. They're going to just let you give you enough rope to hang yourself because they're going to just keep listening and they're going to be processing it. And then Jake and I live with a Mercury and Capricorn person. His name is Ethan. This is Jake's brother. And Jake, would you like to talk about how you have understood what Mercury and Capricorn is by having your brother?
Yes. So
who's listening? He's listening. He can't put anything in the chat, but he is listening and watching.
Oh, so. Well, Ethan, go ahead and get yourself an account on Twitch, and then go ahead and follow the travel agency as everyone else should. I'm sure there's some links we can drop in the chat. Also, make sure to follow everyone on various other platforms. Always got to mention it. Ethan and I, my brother, my sweet younger brother, who I can always beat up. I'm always cooler than. Always remember that. I am what is known as the lawyer. I tend to talk things out. I deliberate. I really paint the picture for the jury. The jury being whoever it may be in this world. Whereas my brother is the judge. He is a man who just he can sum up basically in one sentence what I tried to do with 12. And it's very infuriating. And
we should give him a gavel.
Yes, we do. Well, we shouldn't give him that. He'll take it straight to his head. But in high school, I did write a song called "Ethan's Always Right." I felt so needed to put it in song form even. So it's frustrating, but it's also really good to have these Capricorns there to sit there and just kind of let you know how it is.
Yeah, he can literally write the brief. Like he sums it up. And then you're like, enough said. The conversation's over because he just completely encapsulated it perfectly. And I think he should go to law school. But hey, there's that.
Oh, no pressure, Ethan. Now it's
No
public.
pressure.
Okay.
Just put that out there in the real world. Yes, exactly. So,
There you
anywho, but yeah, it's a very great place. It's an excellent placement for your Mercury, is what I want to say.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, it's nice. It's a really good placement.
Okay. So next up, we have Venus, Capricorn in Venus. Again, I just want to take a quick second. For those who are not as super familiar with astrology, I do know that if you have the CoStar app, which we're not necessarily saying you have to get, but I know I have historically said that, or seen rather, that like you can see the breakdown of this on your profile. So like you'll have you'll have a planet in a sign. Is that right, Mom? This is kind
correct.
of right. So so again, like for instance, we're on Venus. If your Venus is in Capricorn, it means XYZ, which my mom's about to tell you. So if you want to get on CoStar, it gives a great visual of basically where everything is lined up.
It doesn't give you the circle chart, but that's okay. It's a great place to start, and I love having it in my hand so I can just look at people and be like, oh yeah, where was there, whatever, So
So CoStar, give us some ad money. We'll get you in the chat. Give us what we can. Cool. So
and we'll have to have a big chat about CoStar sometime. It's really fascinating. It's so good.
Absolutely.
Okay, Venus and Capricorn. Venus is how you love, and it's also like it's your value system. It also has to do with money and your value. We said that. It also has to do with like art and aesthetics. So Venus in Capricorn is very artistic because again, it's the physical manifestation of art. So for example, they're really good at picking out colors. They're really good at like spotting quality. Like I heard an example the other day that says if you put 5 purses in front of a Venus and Capricorn, they're going to pick out the most expensive one. They're going to find the high quality. They're going to know that was a Coach, whatever it was.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. But the cool thing about this is they're going to show their love with physical things. They're going to do things for you, right? The other interesting thing is when you have Venus in your chart, Venus for women is what, when a guy has Venus in his chart, that's what he's looking for in a female. Okay, and whatever supposedly, in a female's chart, Mars is what they're looking for in a man. So just letting you know that they would look for. So for example, if a guy had Venus in Capricorn, he'd be looking for a woman with Capricorn qualities, like someone who was hardworking and maybe somewhat, take charge or those kinds of things. They're also known for being very fashionable. Again, fashion is the visual, like the physical manifestation of being like clean lines and all those things. Oftentimes Venus in Capricorn, there will be a late bloomer. They won't find love life because they're very interested in commitment. They're very serious. They're not going to play. I mean, they might be trifling for a long time, but they're not going to, you know what I mean? They are looking for commitment and long term. So, and that's another thing. So for example, if you have Saturn in the 7th house, which is, remember, Saturn is our friend who rules Capricorn. Saturn in the 7th house will wait for the perfect partner. They're picky. They're going to only, they're not going to mess around. They're going to wait. It's important enough to them to wait long enough. So anyway, that's what I just want to say about that.
If someone with Venus in Capricorn has chosen you, they've really done their due diligence and they're ready. They're ready.
Jake and I were talking the other day. It's a flex if you can get a Capricorn because they really, right.
They're not going to just. I know some people who have Capricorn partners, and to them, congrats.
Yeah, because they're hard to get. They're not playing hard to get. They are hard to get. Not because they want to be mean. It's because they've got all these issues. They've got Saturn.
They can't help themselves. Well, I'll keep in mind, my mom is a Capricorn too, so she can say whatever she wants about it.
That's true. I can speak from authority from big one. So, okay, and then we'll move to Venus and come to Mars and Capricorn, right?
Here we go.
Okay, there's Mars. Okay. So there's this thing in astrology where they talk about a planet being in exaltation. That means it's in its favorite placement. It's where it can do the most. It can fulfill its destiny the most. So Mars, which is a cardinal sign or cardinal energy, is like, assertive. Mars can assert itself the most with the most results when it's in Capricorn because it's physical and it's executive and it's all those other things. So, it channels that physical energy into physical reality. It's initiative and ambitious. So just to give you sort of an example, like Mars in Capricorn, like you said, is get her done, boss, executive, might be abrasive, might step on a few people, whereas Mars in Taurus, even though it's an earth sign, Mars in Taurus is fixed, slower to change, ruled by Venus. So it's not going to be, I'm not saying cutthroat, but it's that Mars in Capricorn is very realistic, which allows it to be successful because it doesn't mess around it cares about its hopes and dreams, but it's going to be like, this is the reality. Here's the spilled milk. Here's what we're dealing with. Let's go on. You know what I mean? So that's Mars in Capricorn.
let's just say this. How would a Capricorn generally feel about spilled milk? What would be your off the dome thoughts?
Well, this is funny because you've lived with one, Jake. I don't get upset. Why? It's over. So realistic. I'm not gonna yell.
Yes.
We're just gonna wipe it up. This is like a big thing in our family, So anyway, yeah.
Well, I'll say to the Capricorns that I do know, they are like critically clear. Excuse me. Let me try this again. They are. Oh my God, what am I trying to say? Chill. Just. I don't know why that was so hard for me to figure out. They're just so. It's almost like deadly chill. They're just so chill that it's like, are you okay? Are you good? Like you're just like nothing phases you. That just means they're cold as ice. Hard as nails.
Now let me say something.
Yes.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Mars also relates to your sexuality. And I know, go ahead and close your ears, Jake, but I'm going to say this to the rest of whatever.
Okay, here we go.
All those Capricorn principles, Mars in Capricorn in regards to sexuality is endurance. Enough said. Okay. You didn't hear that, right, Jake? Okay. Oh my God, you guys should see Rick's face. Okay. Stamina would be the word. Oops, don't listen. I'm out. These are gonna get you to the top. Oh my God. Okay, never mind. Okay, we're gonna stop now. Anywho.
I caught 3 words of that.
And all I'm trying to say is I'm not gonna sugarcoat this stuff, you guys. Mars is your sexuality. So Mars and Capricorn, I'm just saying. Anywho. All right. Here we go. Okay, so on to the next thing.
Hold on here. So again,
yeah,
this is what you can expect from Club Stars.
This is not PG-13. We're talking real world, people.
We're getting real. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Okay, so okay, Big Monstera. You say, are Jake's cheeks red? This is something I need to address really quick. This is very frustrating because I get alcohol-induced rosacea or something. I don't know what happens. I'm not embarrassed. I am very sweaty from my DJ set. Thank you very much. This happened on Art Brunch, which I co-host with Rick, our executive producer. On Art Brunch, check it out on Sunday. Big Monstera, I am lightly, appropriately embarrassed, but just
look at that.
For the record, this happens, okay? So I'm gonna chill out my face with some cold.
Goof 314. They are hardcore Capricorn. Look at the Mars. They got Mars and Capricorn. Look at that. Mercury Cap. Awesome.
Someone with Sun, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, and Mercury in Cap. That is crazy. That's
amazing.
Okay.
Hope to meet you in real life someday. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we have 9 minutes, Jake, before Marissa's amazing set. Okay, so we're gonna skip over. Jake, tell them who our celebrity chart is.
Time for our celebrity chart is he's a star man, waiting in the wings. Blah 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 blah. David Bowie. What's not to love? Here's a little bit about David himself. He is born on January 8th, 1947. He is a Capricorn sun sign. His moon is in Leo, rising is Aquarius. Chinese sign, fire dog, unrelated, but okay, birth path, we're skipping that. We don't know what that's about. What do we love about David? Here he is at Live Aid. We can be heroes just for one day. He's a beautiful man. He went to space. Mom, tell us more. What do you think?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's get to the next couple pictures, and then we'll get to his chart.
Pretty quick. So we got this one again.
Okay.
Got this one.
Yeah. Oh, and then we're gonna save. Okay, and then we'll save his. We'll save the last one for that. Okay. Let's go to his chart then. Okay.
All right. Let's just get into his chart.
All right. Now I had to talk about Mars and Capricorn, you guys, because our celebrity, chart has Mars and Capricorn, and this was a big part of his identity. Was David Bowie. People often wondered about his sexuality. Okay, so let's zoom in, Jake. Let's zoom in.
Which house?
To the 12th house. Okay, so this is what you guys, just FYI, this is what an astrology chart looks like. Yes, David Bowie was a Capricorn sun. You can see that. That's the circle with a dot in it, and it's conjunct his Mars, okay? Now, the thing about this is when it's only like 1 degree off. When your sun is conjunct any other planet, it's considered combust, which means it's on steroids. So imagine all the stars lined up, and it lined up just like this. So not only is he a Capricorn with all that Capricorn goat energy, his Mars is supercharged on steroids. So think of Mars being Russian, and it's in Capricorn, all those things we said. In the 12th house, which is your subconscious, and it's hidden. If it was in the first house, that's your persona for the world to see. So it was very mysterious. His sexuality was very mysterious. People were constantly asking about him, right? So it was submerged. It wasn't that out in the open, right? And in the 12th house, that's your dreams and it's illusion. It's ambiguous. So all those kinds of things, it's what's also interesting about having the sun and Mars together is it's hero energy, because Mars is the warrior, and it's funny, the song, We Could Be Heroes, right?
Just for one
And
day.
as I was telling Jake earlier when we were chit-chatting about this, he was a hero in the LGBT community because, nobody had ever seen somebody who was willing to, in the 70s, or 70s glam and everybody was doing it. But he was just no bones about it. He was just like, I'm going to wear makeup, I'm going to change my hair, I'm going to do whatever I want. Go ahead, Jake.
He embraced androgyny. And I think that, this is something that I think we can briefly take this aside. It's like, when talking about astrology, my mom and I have discussed this a lot, that there's terms that are kind of used like this is very masculine, this is very feminine. And from what I've gathered from it is to understand is that it doesn't inherently mean quote unquote male in the very binary cisgendered way, but rather we all possess these kind of masculine, feminine, even maybe let's just say non-binary feelings or presentations or habits, whatever they may be. So despite it, it kind of looking at it more as like a spectrum. So, I guess, from what David Bowie, what I feel like he brought to the table was being very androgynous and playing with those lines of gender presentation. Additionally to that, people, associated that with, well, who is he attracted to, things of these nature. And I think that oftentimes it's the folks that have these kind of, and again, I'm trying my little appetizer, and then my mom comes with the entree. But I just, to me, what I kind of gather from this is just like, he has this spectrum to work within based on his chart. And I think that that's really interesting to kind of see those two things on top of each other like that.
Right. So, okay, going back to, this is why, again, astrology, you're not just your sun sign, because people wouldn't have suspected that he was a Capricorn, but he was so hardworking. So when you dealt with him, like, for example, Queen worked with him, and they're like, that dude was so bossy. He just walked in and took charge, and they made that song under pressure, completely under his direction, which is funny because Capricorns love pressure. They do great in the clutch. Put them in the hardest possible thing you can, and they'll make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. I also want to say the 12th house is the house of undoing, and he had a really bad cocaine habit when he was younger. And so that's where drugs is. And so, but a Capricorn isn't going to let it defeat him. He found a way to get out of it. So anyway, so I think the thing that most people really recognize about him is, if you guys can see that first house, his first house is he's Aquarius rising. Okay. So the reason I want to talk about this is Aquarius rising. Remember, all the planets go this way, but Uranus goes this way. So he was definitely his own person. It's all about individuality and freedom of expression, unconventional. His persona was very unconventional, and he was his own unique creation. That means his 7th house, which is other, like his relationships were very Leo. They were very dramatic and they were very intense. And we'll get to that in a minute. But I want to go back to the Aquarian persona because it fits with everything he did, especially, when he was when he was younger, because I don't know if you guys realize this, but, when you're born, your chart progresses. So he was born on January 8th, right? But 20 years later, that's January 28th, and then a couple more days later, he's into Aquarius. So he was very Aquarian. Like, for example, my birthday is January 18th, and when I was 3, I was basically progressed into Aquarius. So I never really felt super Capricornian because I had progressed, even though you're always your sun sign, you progress into these other energies. Anyway, what I want to get back to him is, let's talk about all personas. They were very Aquarian. First of all, he was an alien, right? Space Odyssey,
yes.
Starman, Ziggy Stardust, the man who fell to Earth. I looked these all up. Loving the Alien. He did a thing called Life on Mars, and the very last album he did was called Dark Star. So he was very, very Aquarian.
This is also an episode of Behind the Music, just so everyone knows. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, there you go. We talked about this, so it's gonna be like pop-up videos. I'll be talking about the astrology of all these people.
There we go.
He was also born in the week of the ruler. So, every week of the sign has a particular designation, and he ruled, man. He was the bomb when it came to this. So, just want to say that. Also, if you guys want to move, Jake, if you want to move into that 4th house.
Fourth.
Okay. He was squeezing right into there where, right? Yeah, let's see. There you go. Very good. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the fourth house of your home. And he has Uranus there. And so Uranus, again, is that counterculture thing. So he wasn't your typical Englishman. He did not act like an Englishman. You know what I mean? He was flamboyant. He was all the things he was. Also, that little thing next to it is called your North Node. And so it's what you're here to work on in this lifetime. And his North Node was in Gemini, which is a mutable sign and is sometimes, considered like in terms of like bisexuality or whatever. People will sometimes, because it's on-off energy, you never know. You don't know if they're one way or the other, and that's okay. But the whole reason I even want to bring this up is that it's at the apex. Can you see those green lines, you guys? Those green lines, Jake, can you point to them?
Yep.
It's called the finger of God. It's called Yod, Y-O-D. If you pull out, you can see this giant isosceles triangle pointing to that. They say when you have your North Node in the fourth house, you feel like an alien. You don't feel like you're where you're from. You don't feel like you belong. So his whole life, his whole theme was just feeling like he really didn't belong on Earth. You know what I mean? The whole entire theme. He is an alien. He just happened to live here, Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. And you can see it ties into, again, that 12th house where his sun and his Mars is. And then if you scoot up to Jake, I don't know if you can see the top of that chart. You can scroll down. Okay, there you go. You can see his 9th house. So let's scoot up to there if you want to zoom in. The 9th house, right there. Can you see Venus? It's got number 2. It's got a 2 under it. His Venus was in Sagittarius. So when you have Venus on the MC, so the MC is the highest point of your chart, it signifies someone, because Venus is love and what you value, someone who gets to do what they love for a living, because the 10th house is your career and it's on the cusp of the 10th house. Not only that, okay, let me just read this so I don't get it right. It's a sign of popularity, especially in Sagittarius. It's very popular. Loved by many, very artistic. It's called Venus culminating. When it's at the top of your chart like that, it often represents someone who has a career in the entertainment and the arts. And with Jupiter right there, so Jupiter's the planet of expansion and good luck and opportunity, he was freaking rich. That dude had so much. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So not only did he get to do what he loved, he got to, a lot of times they're starving artists. This dude was not a starving artist. He was very successful. A lot because he had that Venus conjunct his Mars. He had the engine of his chart was superpowered. He had a turbocharged engine in his chart. And that 12th house of like dreamy artisticness, plugging into the subconsciousness, being the hero for people who weren't represented. You know what I mean? Like, it was amazing. So, okay. So I know we have we're over time. We're 2 minutes over time. I'm just going to quickly zip over to talk about his love of his life, Iman. So Jake, if you want to show that real quick.
There we are. Okay.
When you have Venus in Sagittarius, you often fall in love with someone from a different culture. So yes, he was married before and he had his son, Zoe Bowie, who changed his name to Duncan Bowie. But the real love of his life was Iman. And so when I was looking, I'm like, wow, his 7th house is in Leo. I wonder what his sign is. And so I looked, and Iman, look at that beautiful mane of hair. Can anyone guess? Iman was a Leo. Oh. There we go. So Jake, zoom on in, back to his chart, back to the 7th house, and then we're going to wrap this up, and we're going to move on to Boogie Nights.
All right.
So let's look over to his 7th house. So 7th
house.
house is over here. Okay, so let me just say this. Your 7th house represents the other, the person that you're going to partner with, either business-wise or in a legal marriage partnership. Romance is the 5th house, 7th house is your partner. Okay, you see he has plenty of energy for partnership. His moon is there, so he's going to be emotionally attached to that person. Saturn, remember when I told you about people that have Saturn in their 7th house, they wait to get married. It's going to be, they're late bloomers. It takes a while to find their real true love. And then Pluto is transformation, so he has this powerful connection. All in Leo, which is creativity and drama. So he ends up falling in love with a Leo fashion model from Somalia. And they both say that they were each other's love of their life. They both met each other. And even Iman's quoted this. She said, our timing was perfect. They were both at the peak of their careers and they were just kind of like over it. And they hear these two people that understood what it was like to be superstars that came together and they created a beautiful baby named Lexi Bowie, who is now 20 years old, you guys. She's young. You know what I mean? She's so it's interesting. So, So anyway, just want to say it was amazing to see. He brought all this energy and he found the love of his life. So luckily he was happy there at the end, you know what I mean, of his life.
So
he
you might
say,
love.
Yes.
You might say that their stars aligned.
Thank you, Jay! Woo-hoo! Okay, hit the air horn. Air horn for that.
I wasn't quick on the draw.
Exactly.
I apologize for that.
Absolutely.
But, oh my goodness.
Exactly. So anyway, thanks you guys. Sorry, went over time. I cannot wait for you guys to hear her set. She is going to bring it. That is for sure.
Yes.